There's always, I'm going to play some devil's advocate here.
I love it, man.
Now, at the same time, we have events going on now that if it wasn't for cell phones, we wouldn't understand the depths of the pain that some human beings around the world are experiencing. For example, what's going on in Yemen.
Yeah.
Or what's going on now in Ukraine. Only when it's in Ukraine are people caring about it a little bit more, So the cell phones, internet, everything has shown a light onto the intricacies of those kinds of choices and how they affect us. So in your mind, do you feel that it's still a net positive?
Again, cell phone is a tool like any other tool. And you're absolutely right. A Russian soldier will think twice before hitting someone or doing something because they know it's going to be filmed and the international press is going to get a hold of it. But video cameras had that same function as well. So I think that it can be used to expose bad behavior. Mm-hmm. It's good. It can connect people that otherwise, like there was a period of time you were living in Atlanta and without mm-hmm. Zoom, you and I could not talk. Like we could not talk to one another. Yeah. So I think if the tool is used appropriately, it's a wonderful asset. But I think it's the curbing of the tool. Like my question is this. If you're in Atlanta and the only way that you and I can have a meaningful conversation is through Zoom, let's do it. Mm-hmm. But if you and I are in person, why is any one of us on our phones? Like, mm-hmm. why are we on our phones if you and I are sitting in the same room staring at one another eye to eye? And that's where we're using this technology inappropriately, I would say.
How do you see the perversion of human connection over the next 150 years? Right? Because we're talking like 40 years, right? Like internet was invented when? Like in 1984?
Yeah, I had my first computer, I think, 1998, a Pentium 1,
yeah,
28K dial-up.
Right. So the 80s, let's just call it the 80s, right? So what, almost 40 years?
Yeah, for sure.
That's not a long time, right? And so what we're talking about is the detachment, kind of like a shuttle connected to the International Space Station. We've just blown up the bolts. We're starting to separate, and over time, there'll be a grander difference of distance between what was a docked part of the International Space Station and now a free-floating entity. We're now free-floating, flying away from being docked in human connection, having that kind of like location-based community around our churches or our AA meetings, or all of these different types of meets, these these meeting grounds, these little campfires of humanity that we've created for hundreds of years. That's all going away. And now, how do you see the perversion of human connection? If you see it perverted, maybe not. Maybe you see it as expanded. But how do you see human connection evolving on a philosophical level?
It depends if we have a revelation or don't have a revelation. So if we don't have a revelation, we continue to go down this course. Every human being is going to become increasingly lonelier and lonelier and lonelier, and they're going to feel isolated, and depression is going to kick in. I think that if we don't course correct now, it's going to be a very lonely world for each of us, and no one is going to be able to escape that. Because even if you're the one enlightened individual, if you're going out there and you're just speaking to the drones and everyone's like, you're going to feel just as alone. So there's not going to be any escape for anyone. I do see a brighter future where we do course correct and we just set rules. I think things can be solved. Like, religion is all about rules, right? It's all about setting rules and finding out when they're appropriate. And I think setting rules of like, hey, we have a designated time where human beings need to interact. Like, I think that, how we always have all these doctors saying you need to exercise 30 minutes a day and eat broccoli. We need that kind of same level of emphasis of like human beings need to talk to each other 1 hour a day or something like that. We need that kind of like health initiative when it comes to socialization, because human beings that aren't socializing, because why do we have purpose? Like, what gives us purpose? Our relation to who?
Oh, you're asking me, why do I have purpose is really my relationship to myself and what I feel like I'm building for others. And my self-worth is tied into how I feel that I've done something that benefits a 1-to-2 ratio, right? Like one person is making two people happy. I'm good with that. If I can make 2 other people happy, including myself, I've done an amazing job.
You said something very interesting to me offline before we started. You said, I hope I have someone to share this with.
Yes.
So we do things, yes, we do it for ourselves, but we also do it for others as well, right? And you have to find that balance, because if you're just serving others, you're betraying yourself to some degree, right? So you can't go that far in that direction. So if we're living in these ultra isolated lives, and we have no affirmation from the outside world, no connection with other people, it's going to corrode our sense of purpose. And I think nothing good can come from that.